Okay, pay period number 18, which is the period that ended on April 29th, 2023. Let's talk about it. Coming up. Looking at the logs, I had 2,938 dispatched miles, 3,907 logged miles, 3,908 odometer miles. On the 25th, I had an on-road reset. That's why that day is in orange. That's a day off on the road. We get paid for those 34-hour resets here at Cheeseman. My average net speed was 61 miles per hour. That's not what I set my cruise at. That's my average when you take the number of miles traveled for the week divided by the time on drive line. It's time to take a look at my unedited pay statement for the week that ended on April 29th. This is the 18th pay period of 2023. The first run on this pay statement goes from Laredo, Texas to the Fort Recovery, Ohio terminal. It had one stop in Salina, Ohio. This run paid $982 for 1,491 miles. The second stop on this pay statement went from the Fort Recovery, Ohio terminal to Laredo, Texas. It paid $1,043 and it was 1,447 miles. This week I was paid the insurance cash out. That's $300 because I do not take the company's insurance. If you have your own insurance from somewhere else, a spouse that works, military, or another source, you can get the $300 cash out option every month. Looking at the summary box, I made $18 on empty miles, I made $300 for the insurance cash out. My 34-hour reset paid $100. My loaded miles was $1,853, and my stops were 54. My gross pay for this week was $23.25. I had 2,938 dispatched miles. That comes to 79.1 cents per mile. The year-to-date page. We're 18 weeks into the year. My gross income is $38,937. My total miles is 50,055. That gives an average per week of 2163 gross and an average miles per week of 2781. Multiplying that by 52, you get an annual estimation of 112,476, 144,612 miles. The calendar. In the month of April, I've worked 21 days, been home for 4, off on the road for 4. Year to date, I've worked 87 days, I've been home for 20, and I've been off on the road 12 days. The overtime calculation is not something that we are actually paid, but it's interesting to do. I was paid $23.25 for this week. I worked 66.8 hours. That would have been 40 hours regular time, 26.8 hours of overtime. Comes to an effective rate of $29.02 per hour, or $34.81 paid on straight time. That's for a 5-day week. Year to date, looking at it, it's $38,937, 992 hours worked. 719 of those hours would have been regular time. 273 would be overtime. That is calculated on a week-by-week basis. $34.52 would be the effective pay rate per hour. $39.26 is the effective pay rate per hour with no overtime in the calculation. Here recently I've had some conversations with some people on the web, Facebook groups and places like that, where people say how poorly truck driving pays. And that's because they count every hour they're in the truck and think they're going to be paid for it. Those are the people who didn't do their research and picked the wrong career field. You need to do your research. You need to understand you're paid for the hours that you're working on duty and drive time, and use that as your calculation. Truthfully, we're paid by the mile, or sometimes there's some companies that pay salary. You cannot look at what you are paid for every hour you're out here on the road. Do you think you would be paid that if you were working a regular job? I commuted to and from work in the world before I became a truck driver. Did I get paid for that commute time? No, I didn't. Didn't expect to be paid for it. Didn't count that. It was me that lived an hour and a half away from work. I made that decision. When you decide you're going to become a truck driver, you're not bound and stuck in this truck. I know people will say, well, you're responsible for the truck and you're responsible for the load 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. No, you're not. No, you're not. Park the truck legally in a space, and if you want to go get something to eat, you go get something to eat. If you want to go shopping at Walmart, you go shopping at Walmart. If you want to go see a movie, you go see a movie. What do they mean when they say you're responsible for the truck? Ask them that question, all of a sudden they don't have an answer. They say, well, you're responsible. That's what the law says. No, it doesn't. No law says you're responsible for the truck and trailer and cargo when you park it. That's why your company has insurance. You park your truck, you park it legally. Truck stop, reserved spot, someplace, terminal, and you're free to go places. You're free to do things. You're not chained to this truck. And if you think you're going to get paid for 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, gotta have to do a little more research, because you're not. Until next time, make sure you're enjoying every day at work.